So I want to do a reaction video to this Being Ugly, My Experience video. I actually came across this video myself, and then some people have been pointing this out to me, and I think I watched this when it had like 30,000 views. Now it's got 1.3 million views. So obviously this is resonating with a lot of you. I don't want to attack this guy. At the same time, I don't want to encourage his thinking. I want to correct some of these issues. And obviously this resonates with a lot of people, a lot of you perhaps, because of the views on here. And it is a really important concept. I think a lot of people really think that they're ugly and they think that that's the problem. And, and I have had the experience of being, quote, ugly. Show them my nasty. All right. For various reasons, right? I was picked on as a kid. Right. I had a lot of issues. Okay. Now I've fixed and I've corrected a lot of those issues. And so that's what I really want to focus on is really, again, I don't want to invalidate someone's position on this, right? Or experience is more like that. But what I want to do is I want to say, look, guys, look, there's some alternatives. There's some things that can be done. There's some things. It's not quite that simple. It's not quite that black and white. Okay. And it's not just a matter of looks, not saying that they're not important, but there's a lot of things that can be done. Again, the point of Bulldog Mindset is to help you to not have the victim mindset, to instead have the bulldog mindset, to not embrace the victim mindset. So the goal of this is really to help you to embrace the bulldog mindset, is to have that kind of thinking of taking responsibility and figuring out what you can do. We're going to start at 130-ish right here. I'm going to have to turn the speed down slower. And let's listen to what he has to say here. Okay, but for the record too, I like this guy. I think he's very honest and seems like a likable guy to me, honestly.
So every video I come across is with a really attractive or normal person, and they have no idea how it really is. So first of all,
so I'll just say something about this real quick. You're assuming that a really attractive or normal person has no idea how it is, because you're assuming that they couldn't have ever experienced that thing. It's really easy to judge people that you feel are normal, that are attractive, and say, oh, they don't know how it is. This is one of the problems we have a lot in society today, is people say that, oh, you're unqualified to speak about something, whether it be because of your race, your religion, your ethnicity, your sex. Okay, this is a very bad place to be. You don't know what people's experiences are. Honestly, I have had some pretty bad experiences as a kid, being picked on, being called ugly, all kinds of things like that. So
right now I'm putting up quite of a show. So if you think that I look pretty good right now, it's because I'm doing my absolute best to show you that I look good.
So this I have to disagree with. You're not doing your absolute best to look good. He's gonna talk about some of the specific things that he's doing, which I'll let him, and then I'll talk about why this is not. But I mean, just from a very cursory view, just with the hat and the clothing choice, and and the hairstyle and the glasses and whatnot, this is not the attempt to look as best as possible. I mean, it may be his attempt, but it is subjectively not or objectively, I would say in this case, not the best way to appear.
It's also the cam. So first of all, my teeth are fucked up and I'm pushing forward my jaw all the time. I have extremely much loose skin. This is nothing I can do anything about.
Okay, as far as the teeth, yes, it does not look great. It doesn't look horrible though. It's not the worst that I've ever seen. Some braces, Invisalign would fix that. Again, you might say, well, I don't have money to do that. Granted, that's fine, but I'm just saying there's something that can be done about it, but it's not that extreme. At the very least, you can prevent it from getting getting worse by wearing a retainer, right? There's definitely some things that could be done or could have been done in the past. So that can be fixed for sure, right? That's definitely something that can be fixed, and it's not that difficult. I mean, heck, I've got braces on right now. I did Invisalign. Okay, I did a lot of stuff, right? So, and I think my teeth might have been worse than that, maybe equivalent at the worst that they've been. So, okay, so that's number one. That can be fixed, and that will make a big improvement on the look side. Second, this loose skin thing is not. I don't even notice it. This is, you know, he doesn't have a double chin or anything like that. I mean, shit. Look, I guess I look at what I can do with my skin. I mean, seriously, like this is an imagination thing. So
checking this a lot. I have so much loose skin, it makes me look terrible. I have a big forehead.
And that actually could be fixed by having by actually developing some muscular in the face musculature.
And my hair is making me look really good, but if you would take away the hair, like, I got pretty bad.
There's nothing really wrong with it. I mean, forehead maybe slightly big, but most of you, I mean, shit, do I have a big forehead? I don't know. I don't even care. But the thing is, the haircut is not right here. He's going to say that he's using it to cover up the rest of him, but a nice modern cut would look good here, right? Even he could pull off the man bun look, something a little more, kind of edgy there. There's a lot of ways, like just a decent haircut would go a long way right here, to find a good one that frames his face.
Bad posture,
bad posture, that's easily fixed. You can learn. There's even devices that can help you get better
really
posture.
Big, bulky nose, and my lower lip is a lot bigger than my higher.
Okay, so again, the nose thing, sure, maybe it's not like ridiculously big. Lower lip thing is not a big deal either, I don't think.
Lip, like my higher lip is normal, the rest is not. So I'm using my hair, I'm letting it grow out so it covers, and then I use a hat to hide my pan, my eyebrows. Everything is like, I do not look good. I've never in my entire life had anyone telling me I look good.
Okay, and I agree with this. Okay, I agree. You've probably never had anyone in your life tell you look good. You don't look good, but that's not. It's not just, again. There's so much that can be done in this case, right? So what I would say is definitely, yeah, the hat isn't doing anything good for you. Get a good haircut, get some contact lenses, if you can, to get rid of the glasses. That will improve things. The teeth could be straightened and fixed, right? As far as the jaw thing, that's an issue. Again, orthodontics, there's ways to for that to improve. Just strengthening the jaw would make a difference there. The nose is, you could do something, but you don't necessarily even have to. Just like in the eyebrows, I mean, there's options. There's like microblading, like you can actually do things to improve your eyebrows. So really just being very, very sharply groomed. And again, another thing here is, just in general, in appearance, go to the gym, start lifting weights, start becoming buff. That's gonna make a difference for sure. It's gonna make a difference in your face, and you will see it for sure, right? But also just overall appearance. And then again, if you were sharply groomed, right? If he had some nice contact lenses or even some really nice glasses or something like that, nice haircut, and in a nice suit, right? Like you could dress up and look sharp in a nice suit, nice clothing, and it's gonna mask a lot of the issue. You're gonna look good. I mean, again, you might not be a supermodel, okay, but you could be up there, in the looking good, definitely in the average, and probably I would say in the above average if you take the attention to detail in your appearance and work on that. That again, I can't tell that skin, from here, but it can definitely be improved to a great degree. Again, you have to be doing everything that you can before you really complain here. So, honestly, I think you could see a huge improvement, at least twice as what it is right now.
Look from this side, like this. Push forward my jaw. Maybe on cam I look a little bit better, but people in person, they see my nose, they see my lips, they see my tooth, they see everything, they see this, they see that I'm not looking that good. I get so much critic, and I'm gonna tell you the story of my...
So let me just kind of finish up this part by saying this, is that is that basically this, what was I going to say here? This, if you do everything that you can, you're going to see a huge improvement. Okay. And oh, here's the other piece of this. This is the other piece I wanted to say about this, is that a lot of the way that we come across, okay, has more to do with, or has a lot to do with, what we think about ourselves and how we act, right? Because when we look at a person, especially in person, okay, and photographs can lie, and you see this all the time, but when we really judge the attractiveness of a person in person, we can't really separate their physical looks completely from their personality. And what I don't mean, like, what I mean is how their expressions, like what we see in their face. Does that make sense, guys? What we see in their face and how they carry themselves, right? If you look at him on camera, you look at his presence, it's very unconfident. Okay. It's very much needy and weak and feels sorry for me. Okay. And if he's projecting, if he comes on camera and he's like, look, let me tell you, I'm ugly, all right, but I'm all right with that. I'm cool with that. But I'll tell you my story, and I'll tell you why. Like, you can look at my nose, whatever, you're going to get a different impression of him, and he's actually going to appear more attractive, right? More charismatic. It's very difficult in our minds. We can't really separate this, but you see certain, facial expressions and things like that. The example that I like to use of this is Owen Wilson. Now, the guy has good facial character. Like, he's attractive to some degree, right? Like, I mean, he, aside from his broken ass nose. Okay. Now, I'm not trying to make fun of him or anything. I'm just saying that, look, here's a guy that has I mean, his nose is pretty fucked up. That's pretty bad. Okay. But when women look at him, right, and when guys look at him, we say, okay, but he is an attractive guy overall, right? Now, and he's super successful, right, in life. So why is that? A lot of it is just his person and the way that he talks, the way that he moves, the way that he carries himself, right? He's even got this weird kind of voice, and you know what I mean, like, that's a very nasally voice from the nose, right? So you see what I'm saying here, right? Like it is a lot of the person that comes out in the appearance that you don't necessarily see. And if you don't believe me, again, you could look at my own videos and you can see the old John, where I had the same face. I mean, there's some changes, some things, but you can see the way that my face looks, the way that even in a photo, the way that the expressions that I make, where they all like show, the eyes are the window to the soul, right? The face, the expressions that we make, the way we carry ourselves tell a lot about us. And so that really influences attractiveness to some degree. Okay. I'm going to jump over to about 5 minutes here.
I was 12 to 13. And they were like 16 to 18 beautiful alpha males. And like they were the first ones to start calling me ugly. And that was quite a shady neighborhood. So it's like, they were with me because my mom gave them cigarettes and stuff. So they were like my guardians, sort of. And they were the first people to call me ugly.
So this is what happens, right? This is imprinting, right? So projecting. So when you have an early experience of being called ugly, you're going to believe that about yourself. We are a collection for a large degree until we become adults and we fight this. We are a large collection. A lot of your psyche, a lot of what you believe about yourself is what you've been told. Okay, or what you've been led to believe about yourself. And so that's why it's so harmful to call kids stupid, like to call your children stupid, or to say, hurtful, mean things about them, because they will believe that. Like, as we're young and we don't have ego, we don't have these defenses for our psyche, we develop our psyche based on what other people call us or indicate about us. And this was a problem for me, for sure. I believed a lot of things. I had a lot of limiting beliefs that totally held me back in life, and made me believe that I was unlovable, that I was ugly, that I could never find love, that there was something wrong with me. But those were things that other kids, being picked on, me being picked on, they gave me this complex, and it's hard to fight this. It is hard. I have empathy here in the situation, because it's very, very difficult. You believe this is something that you believe about yourself. It's difficult to change these things. Again, if you want to learn how to change these things, click the subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm not doing that just to get you to subscribe, but I'm telling you, that this is the things that I talk about on this channel, and this is my focus, is to help you to do this. Okay, so let's skip ahead here to around 7 minutes.
Like, the amount of people that rejected me is astonishing. It's unexplainable. I remember I was 15, I went to school, I was socially inactive, I was a bit overweight. That's where all this comes from, because I was a little bit on the overweight side. So I was a bit heavier, not much heavier, but I was heavier. And let's see, I think the total sum from when I was 15 to 17 was well over 400-500 girls that I wrote with.
Hold on. Okay, this is the issue here again. So I think that number is pretty inflated. Maybe, I mean, 400 to 500 girls that he wrote with, right? That's an issue. Okay, again, this is one of those things where the chance of rejection of and what is perceived as rejection, especially if you don't have confidence, if you're only going on writing them, right, it's going to be very high, right? So again, this is one of those things where you need to go and talk, right? If he said, I have gone and approached 400 or 500 girls, he would not say that his numbers were that bad. Now, again, he perhaps, if he hasn't gotten a good presentation and whatnot, it's not going to go necessarily great. But there's a huge difference between hiding behind the letter or the email and actually going out and really facing true rejection and talking to girls, right? You can self-deceive yourself when you feel like you're being rejected, like you're not getting responses. And really, online, if you go to the online space, right, to try and get a girl's attention, she's going to judge you completely by looks. That's true, right? If you're on Tinder or Bumble, whatever, any of those things, because that's what there really is to go on. She's not reading a profile, and what I mean. But in person, you have the ability to create a different vibe, to control what that vibe is, to project an energy, to come across much more differently, and to do things where looks are not going to be the only factor. They will matter to some degree, but you can also present yourself as well as possible. So there's definitely an issue with this
that I tried to get into a relationship with, and that's not normal girls. I've never gone for the normal attractive girls. I knew from the start, like, they are not for me. They set these standards that are so high. They want attractive guys that are smart and funny and everything. So
okay, so they set these standards that they want. Again, you have to assume this, but that are attractive, smart, and funny. So you can be smart and funny if you can't be attractive. Okay, it's true. So why not work on those two as much as possible? Again, this is just a self-defeating attitude, and this is not that it's necessarily his fault. He believes this about himself, and that's the problem here. Okay, so let's move on to like around 9 minutes here.
after 2 years, I gave up. I simply gave up totally, and when I gave up, I started to care more about writing with people who had it difficult, who were sad, and like who didn't have it easy. And that's when I first met the first girl in my life that wanted to be with me. And I spent 7 years with that girl, and I regret it very much, because that was a girl that treated me so badly and was just using me. She called me ugly. She forced me to walk 5 to 10 meters behind her. She'd never hold my hand. She never kissed me. She never did anything to show appreciation of me. She just simply used me. And it was not a good relationship. She never cared about me. She was always angry, aggressive. And for the first half year, she didn't really want to be in an actual relationship with me. She just wanted to be with me. We had sex and we had fun, I guess, sorta.
Okay. So a few things here. The first thing I want to point out is the most obvious. If there's one, there's more than one. You found a girl that will have sex with you. That means there's more than one of them, right? I mean, this is a pretty big world, okay? So that you just need to just search a little bit more broader. There'll be more of it. There's one, there's more. That's one thing I always say. Second thing here is that these issues that are being described, first of all, sounds like just about any relationship that I've ever been in. That most people have ever been in. Come on, guys, like especially your first ones, right? Oh man, have I fucked this up like this guy did? Of course, okay. And believe me, from the emails I get, you guys are doing it too. So the problem is again one of if she's calling you ugly and treating you this way, a lot of that, in my opinion, is because she's trying to make you feel bad about yourself so you don't leave, so that she feels it's an insecurity on her own that she's projecting on you to make it so that you won't feel like you could do better or you could leave her. And that's actually a good sign for you, because that's saying that she does care about you. You had good times with her, you look back on it and you regret it, but 7-year relationship, I mean, you're going to be abused if you don't know how to stand up and be a man in the relationship. And that's not something that most guys are taught. This is all about, again, coming out and actually stepping up and learning how to be a man. Again, I'll say again, click subscribe if you haven't already, because this is something that we talk about a lot on this channel, is to teach you how to do this, right? And it's really easy to be in relationships. Like I said, I've been in relationships where I have been like this and been abused and whatnot, but you have to be able to hold your ground, to stand for yourself, and to be the man, the masculine energy in a relationship with a woman. Otherwise, she is not going to respect you. She's going to run over you. She's going to be constantly testing you. This is a relationship management issue and a masculinity issue here. This is not an issue of attractiveness. It doesn't have anything to do. If you could be a great looking guy, and if you let a woman walk all over you and abuse you, she will. Okay. Again, not saying anything bad against women, but I'm saying that this is what will happen if you do not actually exert a masculine presence and know how, are confident in control of yourself, and you're a man that knows what he wants and has standards and has boundaries. Okay. So let's move on here, which is really interesting.
By that time I met her, we were just friends. It was chill. She was actually a terrible human being. She was like, she only cared about money, how people look. She wanted to have a guy that took care of her and all that. So I didn't really.
Okay, this is kind of interesting. All right, I mean, so he's talking about here now the second girl that he's met and that in a relationship with, and that he has sex with again. Okay, so for someone who's really ugly, he's doing pretty good, right? I mean, how young is this guy? I think he had more sex than I did at that age. I don't know, but somewhere close, right? I mean, I wasn't very successful for a long time. All right. And then I was really successful. So it's all about what you know, and about understanding how the dynamics work. So, but here's the thing I really want to point out here, why I stopped the video here, is because look at the way that he's talking about this girl, right? He's making some pretty good judgments, pretty severe judgments about her, saying that she's a bad person, a horrible person, that she only cares about money. And these are pretty severe judgments to make. A person who thinks this about someone is not likely to be someone who is going to be charismatic and people are going to be around. Again, not saying anything, mean about this guy, but I'm just saying that, look at the kind of judgments that you're making on people, right? Again, you're kind of upset in this case that people are making judgments about you and your appearance, but then you're making judgments about them as well, right? So there's sort of almost a double standard here in this case, right? And I would say that to all of you guys that are, kind of in this situation. How many times, right? I go through this all the time. How many times do you make judgments about people and say that they're jerks or they're assholes or whatever it is, or these women, or, whatever, you make bad judgments on them, but then you complain that they would judge you based on looks. So, this is something some hypocrisy to realize, I would say.
Really feel anything for her. We were just friends. But in the end, she was 17 and I was 20. So it was like sort of. So like, I remember I bought lots of alcohol to her And she was like, keep some of this, we're gonna use this later. And so I kept some of it. And she then one time visited me in the woods. She spent her night with me. And we laughed, we drank, we had fun, and we had sex. And that's the first time I felt accepted in, like, I felt like I had hope in my life.
Okay, and you do. Honestly, you do, right? I mean, this is two girls now that have spent a decent amount of time with you and had sex with you. Okay, like again, you're batting a lot higher than a lot of guys. I'll tell you for sure, because I get the confidential emails, and I'll tell you, you're batting a lot higher, okay, than guys that would be objectively more attractive. You know, based on, again, I think based on the way that you're presenting yourself, but yeah, so this is kind of, again, it's a perception thing. And here is another hint. Here is, you're using, he's using validation here, right? This girl, he finally feels accepted in life because this girl had sex with him. Man, that is going to come across so needy, and it's going to be such a turn off to most women. It's going to be very hard to be attractive when you're needy. Again, it's a very difficult thing to combat and to get over, but this is the truth of the situation. Okay, so let's skip ahead here to another one here. He's got like,
They make up an excuse like, oh, you didn't text me the same day, I can't be free, I can't have you as a contact. And they do anything to get rid of you. And then there was this time when I had a date with a girl, and I had spent lots of money on making a perfect day together. Like, I had set up everything perfectly, and I went on the subway over an hour, and I stood on the train station, and I looked for her for 2 hours before I was like, okay, she gave up. And then I went home, and then she wrote that when she saw me, I was so ugly, she didn't have the encouragement to talk to me. And now I made an algorithm for a site that...
okay, so let's just break apart that real quick here. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to go with face values that I don't know if she probably used the words that you're too ugly. Maybe she did. That's unfortunate if she would do that. But, spending all this money and setting this perfect date up and going on the subway for an hour, okay, these are things that are going to reek of neediness, right? There again, it's going to create a pretty bad perception. Have I been stood up? For sure. I think everyone's been stood up from time to time. And so it's more likely that the things that he did here, that in the way that he messaged, the way that he came across is what caused this kind of doubt to creep in. And then, coupled with the appearance, and not being confident, who knows what she saw when he was waiting around, that probably gave her the scare that she dropped off. So it's going to happen too. It's not a huge deal here. Okay.
It's like Tinder, but it's called Bado. It's like Tinder pretty much, where I automatically love every person, no matter who. It's like a special algorithm for a program that I made, so that I click a button and it likes 600 people every day, which is the limit. And I've done that for over 10 days, so I know easily it's over 6,000 people that I have liked on that side, like and wants to write with. No one, not a single one has responded. Not a single one, even though I put on the best photos I can find. Not a single soul wants to reply or write or give a person like me a chance.
Okay, so a couple of things here. I don't know what this site is, but there's a lot of sites that really just have a ton of guys on there, and there's hardly any girls on there. Okay, so that is a big factor. Second of all, like I said earlier, this is a bad plan. If you feel like you're not in the upper echelon of attractiveness, you shouldn't be going online and expecting responses. Girls are going to get tons and tons of messages from guys online. That even a decent looking guy should not really expect a response from girls on sites, on online sites like that, just because of the volume, right? Again, what kind of message are you sending, right? If you're just liking people's stuff, right? This is not like just like bulk liking. You can't expect that that you're going to get responses. It's just not going to happen. It depends on what kind of message you're sending, how you're coming across, and I can guess how that the message is coming across based on what I've seen in this video. So this is not a good evidence in this case. Basically, it doesn't mean anything. So let's go here to kind of the end here. This final.
They are like, no, we don't want a guy like you're unattractive.
Okay, so this is
a situation where I'm waiting for plastic surgery because that's the only way. And I'm telling you this right now. If you're unattractive, the only way for you to get a normal life is to work, earn up money, or go to the hospital, get psychiatric help. And if it's severe enough, they will give you free surgery or whatever. Get the surgery so you look better. You don't have to be a model. Just get the flaws out. Get the big issues. Because especially if you're a guy, this is also a guy problem.
Okay, a couple of things here. One, I'm not necessarily agreeing with doing some amount of plastic surgery if you want to. I had a bump in my nose. I did like a rhinoplasty to get rid of it. I think I've talked about this on the channel, and it's not. No one even noticed. So it was just more of a psychological thing for me, apparently, because I didn't like it because no one really noticed the difference. Even people that have been watching my videos for super long time. So yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, again, the easiest thing would be to just fix the teeth, okay? But maybe you want to you can get a chin implant if you want to, or do some jaw surgery to bring the jaw forward. There's some things that you could do, or you get a rhinoplasty and make the nose smaller, reshape it. Okay, those things could be done for sure. Okay, but if you go in thinking that those are the things that are going to, drastically change. I mean. Trust me, I have worked. Okay, I've been super rejected and ugly. Okay, I've also been a model and worked in a modeling agency, and I can tell you that it doesn't matter, right? Even being the best that I could look and objectively being a model, someone that they had hired to do modeling jobs. Okay, so I'll use someone else's definition. You can say what you want, but it doesn't mean that you're just automatically just going to be having girls throw themselves at you. It's not going to happen. Okay, now every once in a while something like that may happen, but it's about going out there and being a man, going out there and being aggressive. It's more than just the looks. And the other piece of it is, you could say that it's money and status. I say it's status overall, like social status and all that, but you can do things to improve your situation. You can earn money. You can get plastic surgery. You can use the money to buy plastic surgery if you need to. You can go to the gym. You can lift weights, right? You can really level and equal the playing field as much as possible, to a larger degree than you might think is possible. So there is no point at where you're hopeless. Okay, I mean, you could literally solve a lot of problems with money, at least all the perceived ones, right? But what the real problem here is a psychological problem. It's a belief system. It's seeking validation from other people. It's thinking that these things matter when they don't matter as much. Because when you're confident in yourself, when you believe in yourself, you're going to come across different. You're going to carry yourself differently. These things aren't going to bother you and matter as much. And I know it's easy to say that, but I've been there and I've struggled with these things. And I have gone from being a guy that, wrote desperate letters to girls in school and couldn't, and got laughed at, okay, to being a guy that could get whatever I wanted, right? To basically go out and be able to pick up girls and all this, okay? And I thought that would drastically change my life and validate me and make me feel like a great person and human. It didn't. It made me feel more empty and worse, because I got this thing that I always wanted, and it wasn't what it was supposed to be. It didn't matter. I still had these insecurities. It was never enough to fill a hole, right? There's always a doubt, always thinking that so I had to fix things in a different way. I had to see myself differently. I had to develop what I call the Bulldog mindset. Stop having the victim mindset. Stop being needy. Okay. Stop being the person who seeks external validation. I've got a nice video on external validation you can check out. I'll put in the card in the description below, and being comfortable with myself. That's what was required. Okay. And that's, you think these things are going to solve your problems. They're not. Okay. Again, we can talk about the superficial things that you can to solve the perceived problems, and these solutions do exist. So if you're going to, don't never give up, but those things can be done, but they're not the things that will actually save you.
11 years, I think, if not more. 11 years I've been suffering with this. I've never in my entire life gotten a single compliment that's been real. Everyone has always just used me. I've heard so many times, you're funny, you're doing this and that, that's nice. Like, personality is one thing. When it comes to love, at least for me, in the place I live, only matters how you look.
So untrue. This is, again, and if you say all the compliments I've ever gotten haven't been real, not true. Dude, if you get your hair cut, get some contacts in, just look as sharp as you can, even without really fixing the teeth. Okay. Get in a nice suit, right? That's nice fitted clothing. Okay. And you get a little bit of a physique going on. Shit, you're going to get compliments. Okay. You're going to get some compliments. All right. And again, heck, it's great to be able to look great with your shirt off. Okay. And not everyone can pull that off. Well, but I'm saying that is just about every guy dressing sharp in a nice suit. Man, women are gonna, if you well manicure yourself, like it's like you do, that's the equivalent to guys wearing makeup. Okay, and I'll say something real quick for you guys here. I probably want to do an entire video on this, so stay tuned to the channel. I'll do a video that talks more about this. But I was thinking about this a lot because guys complain about girls wearing makeup. Man, how and basically, like, let's say there's a girl that wears makeup and she takes herself from a 5 to like a 7 or an 8 by wearing makeup. Do you know how much that would suck to be that girl? Okay, to have to go and like work on yourself for like an hour and a half, 2 hours a day, doing your hair, doing your makeup, just to not look ugly, just to compete, where you are judged on looks 100%, right, or 95%. Okay, and to know that it's going to fade anyway, and you won't even be able to do that for very long. Okay, to be able to have to spend that much time, and to know that when you wake up in the morning, that you don't have that. And like, do you know how bad that would be? Right? I would rather be a guy and rather be an ugly guy, because you've got more that you can do, right? Because you're not judged as much on that. And so when you say, when a lot of guys say this and they say it's only about looks, that's not true. That is a piece of it. It's a component, and it will get you definitely, if you're really good looking, you're going to have an advantage, but that's not enough. It's not the only thing. And, really the status is what matters the most. Again, you could look at, movie stars, and yes, a lot of them are good looking. A lot of them are not. But they have the status. They're famous, right? They have the social skills, right? Again, I'd point to someone like Owen Wilson with the messed up nose. I know the rest of his facial characteristics, that in general he looks good, but part of the reason why you perceive him to look good has to do a lot with the way that he carries himself, the way that he talks, the expressions that he makes that are a reflection of the inner person of him. Okay, that is attractive. So I don't know. I mean, I'll sum this up and wrap this up because it's been pretty long. But I would say, again, I don't have anything against this guy. He seems like a really, really decent guy to me. I appreciate the honesty, and I can relate. I can actually relate to the experience. Trust me, I've been there. Honestly, I really have been there. But I've been on the other side of it. I could divide my life into 3 phases. Okay, one of them would be being on this side of it, being heartbroken, being crushed, being abused, feeling like I'm ugly and no one loves me, no one cares about me. Okay, and that I'm never going to get laid or whatever. Never going to have someone really actually pay me a real compliment. Or okay, so phase 2 of figuring some shit out, getting to the point where I've got the physical attraction, where I feel like I'm physically attractive, and I have the mental component, the game. I understand the psychology, and I can get success, huge success, with women, right? And in having that, and but feeling empty and incomplete about that, almost worse, right? Because at least when you're in the first phase, you have hope that you have something that's going to save you, that's going to solve your problems in life. But when you get there and you realize that this is not it, and this does not solve your problem, it's disillusioning. Like, your hope really, I mean, that's a sad place to be, and you're seeking validation from other people. And then there's phase 3, where I'm comfortable with myself. Okay. I love who I am. Okay. And my experience of life. And I don't need anyone's approval. I don't need the validation or approval of women. I don't need someone to tell me that I'm attractive, or I don't care if people tell me that I'm ugly. Okay. I like how I look. I like how I act. I like how I am. I like the person that is me. And I'm in control of that. And I'm 100% in control of that. And if I want something, I'll figure out a way in my life to get it, but I don't need anything. Everything that I have is with everything I need is within me now, right? This is phase 3. It doesn't mean that my life is perfect. It doesn't mean I'm never depressed or upset, but it means that I don't need some external thing to make me happy. I can create that joy and that fulfillment myself, and that's the place to be, right? And it doesn't, again, I know that this seems so important, but I'm trying to tell you guys, because I want you to understand 2 things. If you can take anything from this video, I want you to take these 2 things, okay? And then I promise I will wrap this up. But the first one is this, okay? It's that it is possible to go from this experience of feeling like you're ugly and not able to attract a woman, to being extremely successful with women. It is possible, and it's possible for just about all of you. Okay. Maybe there's some severe disfigurements and deformities that would make it much more difficult, but for most 99%, okay, it is. And even for I've seen some things that you wouldn't believe, but let's just say that it is possible for you, and to be extremely successful. And I've seen it. I have tons of proof of it. I have seen it, witnessed it myself. You don't have to take my word for it. You don't have to believe me, but I'm just telling you. Okay. So I want you to not lose hope. There's a lot of things you can do. I talked about it in this video. You can make money. You can improve the looks. You can develop the confidence and charisma that is going to make a huge difference. You can become famous, right? I mean, there's a lot of possibilities. Not all of these things are not easy. In fact, all of them are hard. They're difficult. But if you want something bad enough, there are options. So that's number 1. And number 2, like I said, guys, you think that doing that is going to solve your problem. It's not. Okay? Because the reason why you're upset about this and you feel like life is unfair and this is such a plaguing thing to you is because of your limiting beliefs and your self-perception and your need for validation, external validation. Okay. And that is really the bigger issue. Okay. And I know it's easy to say that, and you won't understand this and experience this until you reach that second phase, and that's fine. But just keep this in the back of your mind when you do get there, that this will not solve your problems. This will not. I can tell you 100%, because I've been there, and I'm not going to give specific stories or events, but I have been there, and I have gotten what I thought I wanted, and it was great. But man, it didn't make the change. It didn't make me feel like I thought it would. And, maybe it was a necessary step for me to realize that was not what was necessary. But hey, I'm just telling you guys. All right, guys. I hope that, I don't know his name, but never give up. I hope that you see this, and I would love to talk to you more about this. I would even offer some free coaching to you if you see this video. So, all right, guys, thanks a lot. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.